On Friday's program, our movie man, Bill Timoney, handed us a sealed envelope containing his Oscar predictions. Here's the clip from that moment.
This is my envelope of picks. And if you want me to come back on Monday, you can open it in front of me and find out just how right or how wrong
that is a deal.
Are we going to put a wager on that?
Right there.
For some
We're
good
going to hold on to it.
We'll
hold on to it. All right, the 84th Academy Awards were handed out last night with, of course, the artist winning 5 Oscars. But let's open Bill's envelope, see how his predictions turned out.
And you notice, once again, I've got my Oscar ball gown on.
You look very red carpetable. Yes, very appropriate.
Okay, let's see.
And obviously, because I came back, I must have gotten something right.
Otherwise you would have called it.
Of course.
Okay, let's see. Where did you go right?
You've got the front page. Does that say Best Actor? Right? And
Actor,
you see who I've checked off? John Dujardin,
that's
Best
correct.
Director. I've got the artist, Best Picture. There. I've got 6 out of 7 on this page right.
Wow, I'm impressed.
Now, that's...
But what did you get wrong?
Yeah, those are about the only right ones I got. The bottom line was I ended up going, there's 24 categories, and I had a very, very tough year for me. I got 12 out of 24. I got exactly 500. I got beaten up in the shorts in the category of the documentaries, and I was very surprised with the girl from, with the dragon tattoo. Mm-hmm. I really thought some of those categories were going to go to Hugo. Then I also thought, I said sweep for the artist, and I originally thought maybe Hugo was going to get some more of the technical categories, like sound mixing and stuff, the girl with the dragon tattoo got those, but some of the more like visual effects and costumes went to Hugo that I thought the artist would get. But as far as what we call the big 6, picture, director, and the 4 actor categories, the only one I missed was, I was calling for the upset of Michelle Williams, and it ended up being Meryl Streep.
That's
exactly.
Right. Now, what about the artist? The artist did get quite a few nods there, huh?
It did.
In fact, we actually have a tape of it.
Terrific. And you're going to be seeing a lot more of it. I mean, I think out of the last several years...
actually, we're going to hear a little bit of the speech there.
I love your country.
And that's actually more of him that you hear in the entire film, since it's a silent film. Jean Dujardin, which, by the way, now I think everybody's going to start saying, who is this guy? Where did he come from? Very successful in France. And he's teamed with the director and his female lead in the artist, who's the director's wife. They've made 2 previous films called OSS 117, which is the French version of James Bond. And it was because those 2 movies were so successful, they kind of did like an Austin Powers thing with them. Because those 2 movies were so successful, they were able to raise the money to make the artist. So my bet is now you're going to see those 2 OSS comedy thrillers released here in the United States.
Well, we always see whatever works gets copied in Hollywood. Are you going to see a similar type of genre? We're going back to silent films?
Boy, it'd be something if they did, wouldn't it? The bottom line is I think it's grossed about $12 million, which is the smallest amount of any Best Picture winner in a very, very, very long time. So you have to expect that last night's ratings will be low, certainly much less than when the Titanic was nominated. And everybody had seen Titanic, so everybody watched the Oscars. I wouldn't be surprised if a few people try the device here and there. Yeah, and why not?
But an artistic anomaly, perhaps.
Well, but aren't great artistic achievements quite often an anomaly? You don't have 8, 12, 15 great works of art in a row. You have something great and then people taking inspiration from it, and maybe they'll come close to it, but they won't quite achieve the level that the original did.
And what about Meryl Streep? She was not a pick of yours, yet she's really, certainly a legacy. This is her third win, I believe.
It's her 3rd win. It's out of 17 nominations. Here's my mistake as an Oscar handicapper. I was voting in this category with my heart. I wanted to see him shake it up, and I wanted it to go someplace besides Viola Davis or Meryl Streep, although they both deserved it. Meryl Streep, I think, really appeals to the Academy, not only for the she's overdue kind of reaction, but also because deep down, The Iron Lady is about a long-lasting marriage and about losing your life partner. And certainly, the Academy is made up of older professionals in the industry, many of whom are semi-retired or retired. And I think that aspect of the film, not the political stuff, but the husband and wife stuff and the old, as they age together and as you lose a partner, I think that's what really resonated with him. I also think that's why it got Best Makeup. I had picked Albert Nobbs for Best Makeup. But
I couldn't believe the best makeup thing. But
Yeah.
let me get back to,
Sure.
you mentioned before we talked about this love affair with British film, British actors, and it comes back again in this portrayal of Margaret Thatcher.
Sure, but this time it's an American actor playing a British character. I mean, how often have we seen British actors play? I mean,
Usually it's that way.
it's the other way around. I think a lot of Americans don't realize how many British actors are on American TV right now. There are people who still don't know that Hugh Laurie, the star of House, is a British performer.
know, it's
and that's
amazing,
not,
yeah.
he's doing a dialect. Russell Crowe is Australian. You know, he's doing an American dialect when he plays The Insider or he plays Beautiful Mind. So
think
it's interesting to go the other way.
It is. And Colin Firth won, was it last
Colin
year?
Firth won last year,
Okay.
yeah, but he's a Brit playing a wonderful Brit role. But look at Christopher Plummer. You know, he's playing an American character. He won the supporting actor this year, which was the biggest non-surprise. Everybody in the building knew he was going to win it. But he's Canadian. And if as a British subject, most of his early work was in Canada and then in England until he got Captain Von Trapp in Sound of Music.
Your thoughts on Woody Allen?
My thoughts on Woody, Woody Allen.
Did you guess Woody Allen right?
No, that's where that was the other part, the screenplay. I picked two other movies. The two that won was Woody Allen got original screenplay for Midnight in Paris,
Right.
and Descendants won for adapted screenplay. Don't have any problem with the Descendants. My issue with Woody Allen in this, by the way, he owns this category. He's been nominated for screenplay Oscars 15 times. This, I think, is his third win after Annie Hall and Hannah and Her Sisters, and they're all great. My issue is that this is the adapted screenplay category, which usually means you've adapted the script as opposed to an original screenplay from something like a book, a play, or a short story, or something like that. Well, most people don't realize, unless you're a longtime Woody Allen fan, this script, Midnight in Paris, about a guy who goes to Paris and suddenly he's trapped in the 1920s with Hemingway and Gertrude Stein and all that, is based on a very well-known Woody Allen comic monologue when he was doing stand-up.
So he's adapting his own work?
So in a way, I mean, there's no strict definition of what is adapted and what's not. So when I saw it, I said, well, he's not going to get it. He's in the original category, but he should be in the adapted. So I figured most of the Academy would not vote for him because of it.
Why do you think he did not show?
Because he had a gig. You know,
he had a gig.
yeah, I mean, it's now the Oscars are on Sunday night instead of the Monday nights used to be on. But I just think he's a New Yorker at heart. He doesn't like to fly, and I think he let everybody know back in Annie Hall how he felt about Los Angeles. So he's just playing the clarinet somewhere.
And we've got some video of Christopher Plummer. We're going to roll that for
his
you
speech.
when we talk
Yeah,
about
let's hear it.
You're only 2 years older than me, darling. Where have you been all my life? I have a confession to make. When I first emerged from my mother's womb, I was already rehearsing my Academy thank you speech.
Did you get that one right?
Of course, I said everybody knew that. I think if he dials down the style and dials up the cranky, you could see him in the Ron Paul story next time.
So will you adapt that one or write it?
Why not? It's not an original. It'll be adapted. It was no. I think he was terrific. You know, you've seen him in so many movies that he did not get nominated for.
Yeah.
My favorite is something he did in the mid-'70s called The Silent Partner, which is a great little gritty crime thriller, and he's this awful, awful monster of a character, and no one ever talks about that. But he's played Sherlock Holmes, he's played Henry, all kinds of great Shakespearean characters.
He's
it's great
been
to see
great
him finally,
at whatever you see
finally
him
get
in.
acknowledgement.
He always brings it in everything you see him in.
I agree.
I want to ask you about foreign films.
Sure. I got Separation, which was the Iranian film, and yes, it won.
I'm just checking.
Yeah, of course, of course. There was one critic who made a lot of over the weekend was saying that a Turkish film called I think it was called Before the Land of Anatolia did not receive a nomination, and they raised a little bit of controversy over that because they said, how could you? This film is so good, it should have been included. And frankly, it went under the radar with me, and I want to check that one out. But certainly, anybody who hasn't seen A Separation yet should see it. It's the best foreign film of the year.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what do you think about Hugo?
Hugo. If this were not the artist's year, it would have been Hugo's year. It's the story, and they didn't sell it that way, but it's the story of Georges Méliès, the first filmmaker to use fantasy and science fiction special effects. He made a trip to the moon back in 1902. But then the technology got past him, and in the early 30s, he was found living in the Paris train station, selling little trinkets and things. And they resurrected his reputation and gave him a Légion d'honneur, if that's what they called it, just before he died. And that's sort of the essence of this film. The people on our staff who've seen it, they love it. This is beautiful. It's a wonderful movie, and it's Martin Scorsese, and nobody in the movie pulls out a gun.
And they joked about that.
Shooting. Oh, did he really?
They joked about that during the telecast.
Well, now I'm adapting his material.
no one got killed.
No one got killed. Yeah.
Quick props to Olivia Spencer for winning the Best Supporting Actress.
Yes.
I thought she deserved it.
She did 100%.
And let's go to Dujardin, though, winning Best Actor, not saying more than 2 or 3 words.
But acting on film has never been about saying words. It's always been about reacting. In fact, the Academy has a very good history with giving Academy Awards, or nominations at least, to actors or actresses who play mute characters. Jane Wyman, Ronald Reagan's first wife, she won the Academy Award for Johnny Belinda back in the 1940s. Doesn't say a word. John Mills in Ryan's Daughter in 1971 doesn't say a word. It goes on and on. You remember Robert Duvall was heralded for his first film role in To Kill a Mockingbird as Boo Radley. Doesn't say a word. I'm sorry if I'm talking too fast, but there's so many actors playing mute in sound films that shouldn't necessarily take away from anything. Charlie Chaplin, would you deduct points from a Charlie Chaplin performance because it's not in sound?
You make a good point.
You know what? Next time we'll have you do answer in mute and see what happens. Thank you so much.